Hey, JJ here, and this is the Lens of Truth podcast, where we play through the oldies and modern goldies to give you our opinion. With nearly 100 years of gaming between all of us, we see how well these games hold up in our eyes. With me today, we have.
ATI.
Firefly.
And Zerovii.
And today we are playing Team Innocent. Was it the point of no return, I believe?
The point of no return dash GCPO. The
GCPO.
Global something police officers, I believe.
Organization, something like that.
Yeah, whatever. Fill in the blanks.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
This is an English fan translated game. I couldn't find the team. I was trying to look. I probably just didn't look well enough because obviously there should be a team. I saw a bunch of names, but I couldn't find Aeon, Genesis, like how there's just these teams. But again, I do want to give shout outs to the people that actually take the time to do this because there are just so many games that I would have never been able to play or experience without their hard work. It's not easy hacking the game.
So I actually have a screenshot of one of the credit screens right here. Funnily enough, English translation team is Elmer Espernight and Derek Pascarella. They are the A team.
Nice. Shout outs to those guys because
And there was some play testing and translation other than that, but I did not take pictures of those names, so I apologize to them.
I just posted a link in our chat with the GitHub for it and has all the credits right there.
Yeah, that was the original thing I found. It doesn't look like there's a team, but there is a bunch of people. Like as ATI said, Elmer, Espernight, Derek. You have translation for filler. Editing is Einhen, and then Josh
Einhand.
Einenhen. Sorry for butchering that, but yeah,
German, I believe.
Yeah, you got a really good group of people that did God's work with this because this was actually just such a specific type of game that it's from such an era and it's so specific that it was just really nice to be able to play because I don't know if anyone did any research on the PCFX, but there's not much going on with this console. Like, do you guys have an idea of the system and what it came out of and where it went? I could give a little rundown for that.
Honestly,
am I correct in assuming that this was a Hudson primary computer?
Yeah,
Correct.
so it's a sequel.
The game was Hudson.
Yeah, well, Hudson was, I think, a big partner with the TurboGrafx, the PC Engine in Japan, and I think they owned part of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Hudson, because you had all these
I always
games.
Associated them like they were Mr. TurboGrafx.
Yeah, if they weren't second party, they were owned a piece of the pie, as far as I can tell. This console only sold 300,000, 400,000 units or something like that. Very, very little, and it came out at a time between the PlayStation 1, Saturn, and N64, and a little bit after the Sega CD, the 32X, and all that stuff. So this is a launch game, Team Innocent, and it was just kind of its own thing because this was a few years before Resident Evil, and you know how much Japan loves Alone in the Dark, so they kind of just borrowed a lot of similarities or influences to it and made this interesting little gem. I enjoyed it. How did you all feel about it?
Well, this is a game that was a treat in multiple steps for me. The game, it comes in episodes. You start in episode 1, and you can see on the title screen there's episode 1, 2, and 3 to select between, but you have to start at 1 and work your way up. The first episode has you it's the start of an anime. This is the start of an anime. They basically use this game as the pilot for a series that never really took off. Unfortunately, this is the only entry in the series. So the first chapter has you playing as this girl named Saki. You're a part of a 3-girl squad, and you're sent to investigate this space station and find out what's going on with these life forms on there. All that typical kind of like exploring a space station vibe that you would get out of anime at this time. Um, you are immediately thrust into a visually stunning world. You're started off with anime cutscenes, first of all, which are stellar. The console is absolutely primed to deliver these cutscenes. They look great. It's a beautiful blend of like CG and then going right into the anime. And then when you get actual playable control of your character, you have like a 2D sprite walking around these pre-rendered graphics, and like it's proto Resident Evil, but like you have all the fixed camera angles. You're swapping between different areas of the screen. It feels very natural after playing Resident Evil. Playing this before, like you said, it's influenced by Alone in the Dark. Assumedly, I have not played that myself, but I have heard a lot of people compare these two just based on visual presentation of how you move around the screen.
Yeah, and the PCFX actually has no polygonal capabilities, which is just a weird thing to like release this like new console when you know that this is where the landscape of like all right, so going back to like the early-ish mid 90s, there were some companies that just thought that like Laserdisc or like these interact like the Mad Dog McCree and like these like interactive games were the future, rather than creating like these
Yeah.
beautiful 3D worlds. They were like, you know what, let's get like this full motion video of like real life people or anime video and like have that carry the entire like game. There were some games that were just literally all that, like just a full motion video game. And they kind of put all their eggs into the wrong basket with this, which is a shame because the system seems cool as hell. And some of the concepts and all that are really cool because you do have beautiful like voice acting and animated cutscenes and amazing like pre-rendered backgrounds, and but it just like it couldn't really compete with what was coming out in just a year or two, so it kind of fell a little flat. But uh yeah, it was just some really cool stuff going on in general with the game. uh I enjoyed the three I don't know why there was a score base like for each of the campaigns. I found that odd how every time you finished like a campaign there was just like this little high score thing. It's just such a weird like
It feels like they had to put video game in their
It's
anime. Like, this
yeah.
is just a playable pilot of an anime. Like
it's
there,
one of
we'll go
those
over like the gameplay elements as we talk about it, but like
just one of those
if
90s
you
solo things.
imagine like the episode of like, I don't know, Charlie's Angels anime, and then this is like you playing as them actually like. Imagine in Charlie's Angels, one of them had to be like, okay, I have to go defuse this bomb now. And then it cuts to the next scene and saying like, okay, I did it. I defused it. But they just did it in the background. This is you actually like running around the hallways of the ship for like 30 minutes trying to defuse that bomb.
Yeah, I could totally see that. It was
Yeah,
just, oh, go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, the scoring thing's interesting. So it's still from that era of all these developers coming up from the 1980s arcade scene. So
Mhm.
like they all had a brain for score attacking games, and like you still see it with like Sonic and Mario and everything, like the score, and even like in the manuals, be like write down your score and compare it with your friend's score.
Yeah, and it's just like an easy way of access for replayability. Like, oh, maybe I missed this scene trigger. Because when you beat the game, you see a list of clear events, which is something I was wondering about when I was playing. There are certain events that you can trigger in the game that like show a brief FMV or a sequence. Like, if you
Robotic
walk
death
a certain
scenes.
spot, then there's going to be a falling steel beam, or like there's something hidden in the ceiling, but like they only trigger if you go to a certain spot or investigate a certain thing, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was it was an interesting holdover from like an era. Like it's just in this weird in between era where it's like okay, I guess I have a high score. I guess I missed the laser death
Yeah,
scene. I
but it's
guess
like you said, it's really trying to evolve itself and the medium. Like, what if you could play an anime? Like, it's
Right?
pretty cool for that. You load up your own personal anime. You can move around the character. Like, I don't know what kind of games did this before this game to this level where it's like, it really just feels like episodes of something that never got a proper show release.
Honestly, other than like a few of the PC Engine like CD based games, like Cosmic Fantasy. Again, that game came out in 1990, blew my hair back. Complete like full like videos. I wouldn't say full motion video where it's not like like showing you like an anime clip. You had like these MS Paint, very well done MS Paint type of like scenes with like vocal and voices and stuff, but like this really does, like, other than PC stuff at the time, like computers, I can't really, yeah, there might be a few ones here and there, but this definitely tried to be like the like an I don't, I hate using the term, but it was like this like sophisticated adult type of like adventure, like this sci-fi. There's the alien influence with, I think it was the first campaign where you were going like trying to figure out why like these creatures were on board, and you had to like get you go through them and stuff and figure out
Mhm.
why people were gone. Like it just had that alien influence. I think there's even a Twin Peaks influence. Did you catch that one, ATI?
What are you referring to specifically?
The just the White Lodge.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. Like, of course, my brain. Anytime I read the word lodge, I'm just like, oh, White Lodge, Black Lodge, fireman. I'm eternally Twin Peaks pilled, so I wasn't sure if I was inserting that myself. But like,
Well,
they
I
return
want
to
to
the White
say
Lodge. It's their home base. It's for the good guys. So like,
again,
come on.
Japan
I
loves Twin Peaks. So like,
yeah.
I wouldn't, I can't discredit that. That has to be like
Mm.
some kind of, and then you have Alien too. The Alien cover of the Japanese box art for the Alien VHS is so cool. Like they just love some certain stuff, and this is truly a product of like the time of like what they were being exposed to and what they enjoyed, and I just love it. I love those three
I,
characters.
I do want to add, like, talking about that first mission, like the reason for it happening being so simple is just a overworked manager who has like sit on this station for 6 months at a time while it does its rotations. He's like, I need some kind of companion pet. And he brings this alien on board, and then it passes away, and he's like, well, shit, now I'm depressed. And then he gets this other alien sold to him by like some seedy guy, and he's just like desperate, like, all right, fine, I'll buy it. And you figure out who that guy is later. I don't know if I should spoil it here right now. And then that thing just like goes out of control because it was like a genetically modified version,
Mhm.
and that's like the entire modus operandi for mission one was like it's anime, so it's like, oh, it must be like like teenager shonen focus, and like that being like a more relatable adult plotline was actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and then it gets into that on campaign 3 when you find out that all their power, like they have powers of
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
Yeah.
you get hinted pretty early on that they're all
Let's talk about
genetically
that for a
modified.
second. Let's talk about our cast of characters for a second. So we play as Saki, who is basically like the straight arrow protagonist. Like, she's the all rounder. She's the Mario of the group. You got Lilith, who is the like serious tech advisor. She's the computer girl. She's no nonsense. If you catch her on like slipping, then she's like, you'll never catch her slipping. That's the point. She's always on it and like uptight. Then you have Ariel, who's like the bubbly. She's all going Saki and
yeah.
like all these fun voice lines, and like she's the life of the party. She's like the mechanic, like the spunky one. And then they all make up the trio, which is Team Innocent.
And they I don't want to get too far ahead, but I think it is important, like understanding like that they're like these bioengineered like like it all comes full circle. Like as you slowly progress through the campaigns, you start to like unravel like a greater mystery. I feel like, and
Mm.
it kind of just starts like putting more of a spotlight on like the characters and like where they're coming from and like what they're doing. And I thought by the end of campaign 3, I thought it was pretty cool how like with the whole Kronos thing, with Cronus, the Doctor Kronos. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool, like the way it was told in like little bits, and I mentioned that
Exactly.
they have I guess episodes, like in a literal sense, not like just like, oh yeah, it's an episode, like
Yeah,
it.
that's kind of like what I was alluding to at the start, where like I had different impressions based on the episodes I went into. Like episode one, you have no idea what you're going to be met with. It's just like, okay, here's a group of girls. They're adventuring. They're doing missions. Okay, cool. You don't really know anything else about them. Episode two goes a little bit more into them. You have more breathing room. And then episode three is like, okay, here's an actual like backstory. We're gonna give the antagonist like all these motives. He did show up in episode two, but like episode three, it really popped off.
Yeah, he starts off with like, oh, we're gonna have a game, and then you gotta,
Yeah,
catch
he's just
me.
Jigsaw. He's like he's setting all these traps for you. He's like, ah ha ha, you girls will never get out of this now. And it's like, oh, why you? And then they got out of it over and over, et cetera, et cetera.
And then by
I
the
did
end,
like the.
no,
I
go
know, keep
on.
going.
No,
No,
I
my
was
thoughts later.
I was just gonna
Go
say,
Joe.
and by the end, he's given them like a heartfelt speech, like encouraging them to
Yeah,
like,
after like trying to blow them up and like endlessly, and like all these times where like he almost jettisoned them into space. He's like, ah, my girls, I created you, I love you. This is basically Powerpuff Girls the years after, by the way. These girls were created by a mad scientist. Apparently, they're special. The girl, Lilith, did I say her name was? I already forgot.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
you're right, yeah,
So she wears a bandana all the time, but it turns out that when
yeah,
she was a kid,
ooh,
she had a third eye on her forehead. Ooh. And you find out that the
Oh, so
weird
sad.
tentacle things on the back of Ariel are actually like grabby alien arms.
Mm,
I don't think they like knew what to do with those until chapter three.
yeah,
Because in chapter two, I was like, man, these characters really are symbolizing like how there's just a bunch of tacked on random shit that's never explained about character design, and it doesn't need to be anything other than it looks cool. And it did look cool, but then it turned out to be like, okay, they're actually little mutant freaks. They got little things going on.
yeah. It was well thought out. Like, by the end of chapter one or episode one, I almost felt like there wasn't much there. I was like, okay, like
Mm.
this is like almost not like a prototype, but like again, this was 1994. You have these,
Yeah, I thought it would be more chapter ones after that. So I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know what we're gonna get after this.
because it was kind of quick. Like combat
Mm.
almost seems like I could live without it. It was silly and clunky, but like it was there, and then
Yeah, so like you can select what actions you do. You can select from kick, punch, shoot, and the grayed out jump, which you only get in chapter three, I
Mhm.
believe.
Was it chapter
So
two?
it might have been chapter
I
two.
can't remember.
It was one of those.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever need to kick ever. Um, punch also uses like if you equip a knife or something like that, you need to punch, and it's just your punch animation. And then shoots a gun if you have it equipped.
Yeah, and
I'm
there's a
not
lot.
excited about that because I was like, I only use kicks. I thought I had better like reach than punch did, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll just stick with kick then. And I only got through like most of chapter one. I was like, this
Yeah,
is
I think it's just
okay.
a flavor thing. Punching just lets you use certain items, I assume. I don't know if kicking uses them too. Maybe you put the knife in your foot. I don't know.
I kind of doubt it. I don't know if
X23.
I want to dig
Bayonetta
through
mode.
this game to figure out if it actually has a secret like equipped stat
Well,
optimized
that's the
attack engine.
crazy part. There are stats, like not like stats, but like your health is like a numbered stat, and you have to like keep an eye on it like via the pause screen. And then you have all these, like, I feel like they throw all these guns at you and like
Yeah.
kind of weapons, and you just never really need to use them. There's all this random
Chapter
ammo.
one specifically, there's so many things I never used. I don't know how many like scenes I missed or like interactions you can actually use with them, but like, man, there's a lot of stuff I never used.
Yeah,
I
no.
thought the chapter one's gonna be longer from what I played because I got like a ton of items in my bag. I was like, oh my god, how many puzzles are gonna be in this chapter?
Yeah, that's the
Because I was like,
thing.
how do I use all these things?
That's the thing about this game too. It's a pretty like tight package. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It feels like you're like literally just watching something and getting through
Yeah.
it rather than like
Just a few episodes, but like dragged out a little more with gameplay.
yeah, especially if you fumble around here and there. The FAQ checked out a few times just to keep me like moving along because like I wanted to see more of those anime cutscenes. I wanted to see like just more of these characters interact. Like the music was fun, the
The voice
background.
acting was really fun. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed Ariel's voice specifically. She was really fun with her crew. Everyone had really good personalities.
apparently the casting director or one of the people involved in the game were like really serious about wanting to have like genuinely good talent in the
Yeah,
game, and it
it's
shows.
legit.
Yeah, it definitely shows. I wish the FMV. I guess this is another thing to the ROM hackers or the people that were doing the translation. They couldn't quite change or couldn't quite put like subtitles on like the FMVs and stuff. So
Yeah.
it was like a RAM
Oh yeah,
issue or something like that. There's a
Yeah.
YouTube playlist that has everything subtitled, which you can always cross reference if you wanted to see what was going on.
as
At first, I was wondering if I was missing something, but then it was like, okay, you can kind of piece together what's going on. The first FMV had me totally lost because it was like the reveal of like Cronus and like I guess he was talking about how the girls were like his creations and stuff, but I had no idea. And then it describes it eventually, but you can kind of pick up on the general body language of what the characters are doing.
I don't want to go on too much of a tangent about this, but since I had to mess with re-encoding FMVs to work on older games, it is a fucking nightmare headache to encode a new version of a video and shove it into this
I can only
versus like just
imagine.
adding every frame of it. So like it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't thing. What I do want to talk about though is in chapter one, when you first start it, you get a quick feeling that this game has PC adventure point and click roots because like the first thing you can run into is the airlock control,
Yeah.
and the game will not stop you from opening the airlock on yourself and dying. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
and it's very
I feel
nice
that
at restarting you. As soon as you die, you press the button and you are
Yep.
immediately
No
back in
exactly.
the
real
room where you just
penalty.
died.
Yeah, no penalty.
Yeah.
Just like, you fucked around and found out. Okay, back to the adventure now. Very
And
much like an
it
evolution of
treats
the
you with a
point and
nice
click
little
genre.
animation still.
That's the best part
Yeah,
because
it doesn't like punish you for exploring and doing stupid shit. It's just like, you did it. It was funny. Okay,
Yeah,
back to the
sorry,
actual
Saki.
episode now.
I gotta run this fire, Saki. It looks really good. I gotta jump into this electrical beam. Yeah, I gotta see what you look like. I'm shocked. It's nothing personal.
gotta
Nothing
see how it
personal. I just gotta
is.
see if the game is fucked up and lets me do it. Oh, it is crazy.
Not like
So I
Shadowgate.
did like that. Yeah, like
Shadowgate just
Shadowgate,
punishes
exactly.
you for everything. That fucking game.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Shadowgate would be a better game if it was made just a little bit later and was nicer to the player.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as Team Innocent goes, like I feel like hmm, I don't know how to word it exactly. Like I really enjoyed it, but it felt like it was just a little bit like too before its time, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a little meandering. There's a little bit of hallway wandering. The game is basically hallway wandering. So before I went into this, I was told that it was a survival horror, probably based on its Alone in the Dark reference or inspiration and how
And
it
it just
inspired
looks
Resident
so
Evil later.
similar. Yeah, Resident Evil. It looks
So
so
yeah,
similar.
then like the chapter one, you have the funny little alien guys. They look really silly. It's like, okay, like maybe they'll grow up into something. Chapter two, you learn that there's life forms on board, but everyone's dead, and then you run into zombies, and it's like, oh my god, it was kind of scary and tense at first, but then it's like, okay, the combat is nothing. You just stun lock everything, you
Yeah.
punch them, and they can't move. It's like, okay, non-issue. Let's move on, and then they kind of forget about that.
But the sprite work though, oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
Oof.
Sprite works
incredible.
fantastic.
Everything looks great.
I do wish the area designs were a little bit more varied. Like the first chapter of Space Station is good, but then I looked at the other two chapters and it's like kind of more the same spaceship design. I don't know how to describe it. Just the architecture isn't. I'd love to see it be more varied, but
Yeah, there's
maybe,
not a
Chapter
lot.
three
like I
had a
said,
decent bit of stuff.
problem of the time. I mean, even, like chapter 3, it looks a lot of the same. It's like, all right, after chapter 1, I think I got my area design fill. I just like to see a little more variation, but I may be asking for too much from too small of a team, really, and too early of a time.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
also,
Like things
1994.
things I would
It's
wish to see for like a team theoretical Team Innocent 2.
yeah, you have to consider the context too. Like, you are in a derelict spaceship. Like, there's not really going to be like the frost area, like, or like, you're not going to hit all like the sewer
What do
levels
you
there.
what do you
But
mean my expectations from Metroid Fusion are unfounded?
yeah,
That can't be. You're
yeah,
right,
I
asking
absolutely
think one
not.
of the
alone.
things that added to the atmosphere to me was the repetitive
I
hallways and
was
just like
gonna
the
say,
ambience of it. It's like the classical space It reminds me of like Xeno's Saga when you would just half of that game was just wandering around your home base ship, and I could not get enough of that. I just want to hear the footsteps go pitter patter on the floor, and like just give me this empty vacuum of space where I can go down these white hallways. I'm good.
yeah, it had like a Journeyman Project Turbo vibe, like where it's just like there's a certain amount of like ambiance to this game that
Mm.
was like it had me just like hypnotized. I played it at like 2 in the morning after like a hard work week, and as I was just like wandering around these like environments, this ship kind of feel, I was in heaven because it's so close to the Resident Evil vibe, and it's so close to that like
Mm.
pre-rendered background vibe, but like your 2D sprite, and it was just like the perspective was so good, like with all the like the areas that you go to. Like I was just in heaven. Like I just loved how this game looked and felt and sounded.
It
Uh,
was a total realized package for sure.
yeah, but then there were aspects of like the gameplay where it was just like sometimes it was like, ooh man, would it have been better to just like maybe put all your money into like making this just a like a show and have us like watch it instead? Because
This was a huge gamble in like medium betting. Like they thought that they could like be like, okay, well the PCFX can be home to like an alternative to anime now. We're gonna have our own like playable animes, and this is gonna like kick off the entire thing. And like I wonder how like all the details of development, like how long did this take? How much did it cost? How they end up on this decision? But like the gamble of going for the video game angle in '94, it was a good idea.
yeah, I think
Just
I
maybe it
think
was
it
too
paid
expensive.
off. It could have been it could have been money. It could have been space on the disc. Like who knows how much these discs could have held, and you're using it all for these cutscenes and voice acting and stuff. Like it's hard to say because it's weird. It's like I loved playing the game, but then there was a part that just felt like it was like not lacking, but it almost felt like it was like missing like something to like complete its package. Because I don't know if you've played a lot of Sega CD or 3DO games and stuff like Night Trap and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and like Mad Dog McCree, like all these games, and it because this game reminds me of those games where it's just like you're watching a game and then there is a little bit of gameplay, but it's mostly
Yeah.
just a vessel for you to just continue watching it. And it's just
hmm
like this
Pretty
game.
much the pinnacle of like the actual gameplay in this was like there's like two rooms in a row where you had to jump over like two obstacles in a row, and then you're back to walking.
Yeah, it always felt like it was just kind of like taking you from point A to point B to point C, and you could get lost in between, and that does pad out the gameplay a bit. But like realistically, if you know where you're going, you could probably finish each campaign in like 15 minutes, maybe like 20. 20. It's not like chunky, but it's weird just because my brain like when I was playing this game and experienced like the whole thing, it made me feel like I almost played like a Mad Dog McCree or like one of those types of games. But like they extended the gameplay just enough, even if the gunplay and combat isn't great, it is there to kind of like break it up and be like see, we are a game, and it's just like it's weird. It's like a weird genre blend for me. Like clearly, it's like a alone in the dark type of thing, but like there was just so much like the presentation where I was just like, man, do I just want to watch this?
Yeah, like there's no confusion to be had here that the gameplay is like expecting like reflexes or skill or anything like that. It's just a means to convey a scene to you. There is an action scene, pick your action command, either like punch or shoot. You're gonna have enough HP, it's fine. The game facts guide I briefly referred to, it was funny. There was a section where it was like, all right, this is a spot where you can farm. You can really top off your HP here. And I'm like, why? There's nothing.
Was that by
You're not going to be
Blarg?
losing your HP.
Was that by
What's that?
Blarg one? The guy who wrote it, was it by Blarg 1234555?
It
That
was indeed. He
that
had
was
a
the
lot
guide
of
I
funny
used.
little sections. Yeah, yeah. There was only one I could find.
It was
But
good
he was
too.
like, yeah, he was writing it like it was an actual like game that like be sure to save here, and it's like there is no failure state. What are you talking
It
about?
was funny looking at the length of his guide, and it's incredibly short. Like if you scroll, like it takes a second. Like it's not. It's again, it's not a beefy game. If you know where you're going, you can complete this really, really quickly. And this FAQ has all three campaigns in it, and it's just like very, very
A lot of the
small.
loop is just like learning how to explore the map, going to each room. So the pickups in this game are not like highlighted. Like in the Silent Hill 2, your head would like turn to the items that you can pick up, like stuff like that. There's some kind of visual indicator. Here it's just kind of like that looks like a cabinet. I'm gonna go examine that. I'm gonna see if there's anything in here. Oh, there's a little like 2 pixel blob on this desk. Let's see if I can pick that up. Maybe like things can just kind of click and make sense like that. It's very natural and diegetic.
Yeah, it was very like even more cryptic than like Resident Evil. Like Resident Evil, you'd like search a file cabinet and might find like an ink ribbon or something. Like at least you had like some kind of idea, like, oh, let me check this desk with stuff on it. Whereas in this game, it's like, well, here's like this open locker, and it doesn't look like anything is in this locker, but it's like,
Mm.
check it anyway. Might find something
Yeah,
good.
and most of the time you got something out of it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was super fun to explore and just kind of like take everything in as it came. Like I said, I had an amazing time playing it. I was just enraptured by like the sounds and then the environment and just getting this nice little like anime cutscene as a reward. It's like, here you go,
Yeah, like
here's
it can't be
more.
stated enough of just like if you enjoy early 90s space
Oh
anime,
my
this is
god.
literally just that. It's the same exact vibe. Like I can pop in a VHS of Macross and I get the same type of vibe that I got from this. It's really they nailed it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so grateful for these fan translation projects because like this is an IP. I don't know if you call it an IP. This is an entry. This is a
An
movie.
attempted IP.
Yeah, in my mind, this is like a movie. This was like an anime movie that I would have never been able to really experience. I do remember seeing this like back in the day as just one of those fabled like, did you know there was Resident Evil before Resident Evil? And it's just like, maybe okay, but again, no
I mean,
one played it to really be like. If you even look up Japanese stuff for this game, there's not a ton like there's not like there's fan pages like galore. Maybe I missed them. I don't know. I'm not locked into the Japanese internet where I could pull up fan pages and stuff. But I feel like as far as information goes and like presence on a radar, this game was always just one of those like little tiny blips, and it was just kind of like, oh, that would be cool to experience. But like to actually like be able to play it and kind of go through some of the Resident Evil, because you do combine items, you do have to kind of like, there's not really puzzles, but there is just like combine
There is
this.
some intuition stuff.
Yeah, there is for sure. Like especially when you combine some of the items to like figure stuff out to
Mm.
progress. And it did lock me into that old school Resident Evil vibe where it's just like 'Cause when I first played Resident Evil 1 way back in the day, that game took me like 22 hours to finish. And
Mm.
when you have no context of like the size of a game where you're just wandering around fumbling, like now I can beat Resident Evil 1 in like under an hour, especially if I can
Right.
skip doors. But, so it's always interesting to see like the scope of like first time you play 21 hours. You had like this unique experience that is so like specific to how you played it, and then like once you know where
You
to
never
go.
get that mystery back either.
Yeah,
So it's
it,
a very specific first time feeling.
yes, and I got that a lot with this game where it was like yeah, again, it didn't take me like 21 hours. It might have took me like 10, 11, 12, give or take, and I did have an FAQ nudging me along here and there, but like it put me in this sense of wonder because like I didn't know what was coming. I saw all
Mm.
these guns in my inventory. I saw all these items that I never had to use in my inventory. I saw all these random death flag encounters where you open up the thing and you get sucked out, or all this stuff, and it just kept like putting me in that realm of mystery where I was just so excited to play it. Each night I would choose to play it like super late at night and get into like this cozy little zone, and uh it just it captivated me. Like not my favorite game to like ever want to replay, but like I'm so glad I got to experience it and indulge in these like beautiful cutscenes, and like the voice act, like it can't be understated enough or overstated enough how like good this voice acting and how good the animation was, like, and then as the story kind of like comes together, I was just like, damn, you guys got me. Like by episode 3 I was like, damn, you guys really really
Yeah, it's
got
not just
me.
like random episodic things. Like they had some overarching thing in place, and they had ideas of where to take this. And
And it's
Yeah,
like
I'm really
you
impressed with the story's delivery for being a game from 1994.
yeah, it's like it is literally an anime pilot, and they just said, "All right, well, we're making it a game. Deal with it."
yeah, and a launch title too for this
Mm.
system that again it's only 300,000 to
They're
400,000.
trying to pave the way.
It's still
Can we specify? Was this actually like a dedicated console? Was it a home
Yeah,
computer like a
this
Commodore? Or
so.
this oh no, go on, Zero.
I'm pretty sure gonna regurgitate the same Wikipedia article you are. It started off as a console, like, but later on it got a PCI card edition where you just put it into other computers to use.
okay,
Yeah.
So like it was because like it really didn't use anything fancy due to not even like the polygon rendering yet.
So the
So like they were able
best
to eventually make a portable version essentially of it.
I'd say the best way to like contextualize this console was it's like the Sega Saturn in the family of like TurboGrafx, because you have the with the PC Engine or TurboGrafx, you have like the original console that came out in what, like 1988, 1989 or something like that. And then there was the CD add-on that came out like after. And those two consoles like did well. And then the PCFX came out and it was just like, yeah, we kind of shouldn't have made this thing. Like it was
Like
just so.
really, like it's crazy looking at the specs on the PCFX versus the PlayStation 1 because like they are almost identical except for the PlayStation has polygon rendering, whereas this just went all in on 2D and just assumed like Super Nintendo pre-rendered graphics were the future and would look better than trying to render the blocky models in real time. Like almost make a dedicated thing to do it and then rotoscope those into sprites or whatever, like they did for this with the anime sprites. And like they have a point, but also like it really didn't end up being the future. All the eggs in the wrong basket, as you said earlier.
Yeah, sometimes you bet wrong, and sometimes you bet your entire company on it. Because, like, so originally, I have a timeline now. So the PC Engine TurboGrafx came out in 87, 89, and then the PC Engine CD-ROM uh, came out in 88, 89. And then you had the Turbo Duo, which did like both of those. And there was like the super graphics and blah blah blah. But then the PCFX was the final, like it truly was like their Dreamcast or Sega Saturn, in the sense that like they had this pretty decent line of systems that did pretty damn well, like all things considered, especially for how like chaotic and like competitive the early console wars were. I
Actually, just really quick, I find
Mhm.
it funny that like they showed off the prototype of this called the Tetsujin in '92, and then got cold feet seeing the Atari Jaguar and the 3DO coming up.
Mm,
They're just very funny with a historical lens to me,
yeah. Why would you ever
knowing how
be
those two
afraid of
consoles
the?
did it. Yeah, why would you be
It's
afraid of these two things?
like you're playing Fatty Bear on the 3DO, and they're like, "Damn, we gotta.
Damn, this shit caught on fire. We,
This
we
is
might be boned. We got to
crazy."
go back to the drawing board.
It
Yeah,
was that weird time where like they were trying to figure out how to make movie games. Like
yeah.
they've thought that that was the future.
They
I mean, it
truly,
kind of was in a way. I mean, look where we are now. All these games that want to be like movies still.
yeah. To their,
Damn, that is true.
yeah. They were just a little ahead of their time, too ahead. But then at the same time, they also like shortened themselves, like because it was such a weird time where you had like literally real people. It was just literal movie footage, and you were playing like this like laser disc type of game. Like again, Mad Dog McCree. I always go back to that because that was like the first type of game I played like this or like that, where it was just these real people, these real actors, and you have to like it's like light gunny. You kind of just have to shoot the guy before he shoots you, and if you die, you see this other cutscene. If you know like can live and kill the guy, you move on with this like the story. Like there's just it's so interesting because we saw like even Resident Evil 1, that intro movie has real people in it. Like we moved away from it pretty quickly, but then like you saw like seeds of it kind of still linger around, and then it went away, and now we're kind of back to
That's
that.
the Aerosmith like gun game.
Yeah, Revolution
Shooting
X or whatever.
CDs at
Yeah,
everyone. Yep.
yeah. I mean, you had Mortal Kombat, which was literally
Yeah,
these.
all
It
the
was
body
that.
scan
It
games
was
and
these types of games in fighting game form.
yeah.
Like,
It was like people. It was either you do that or you have like pixely graphics that aren't real, and it's like, okay, well, if we're gonna be futuristic, we're gonna be real. Like this
why
is
would
what
I
video
make a
games can do.
3D game? Why would I have an ugly
Yeah,
3D model? I could just have a
they could be
real
actual
life
people,
Liu Kang. Look how fucking
Uh,
and then
hot.
Hollywood will respect us. It'll respect our
Nah.
storylines, et cetera, et
I
cetera.
mean, yeah, pretty much. Like, oh, I would render the 3D model on our shitty hardware. We can just use our dedicated, the fucking work Silicon graphics workstation, and then
Johnny
just take a
Dedicated
Cage,
picture of
WAM.
that and shove it here and make it 3D. There we go.
tight little piece of ass on that Johnny Cage. Get that going.
Jesus Christ.
But it's just like that was their thinking. Like they were like, this looked really good. Like, and it
No, it was
looks
very valid. It's like,
it
oh, this is the best graphical thing we can do at the moment because
yeah,
the polygon processing sucks.
like it
And then
looked
it quickly didn't suck.
like it looked silly now. But again, as you were just saying, like uh oh my god, there's
Just
this
like the fact you can control real people. Whoa.
yeah, like we made it. We're in the future. Like this is as good as it gets. Like there were people who literally thought that like this is the peak of what we're going to get. And
Like, I don't want to go on too much of like a tangent, but like, there's still games like this being made nowadays, and they are also very painful to play at times on the PS4.
yeah,
Like, they're still like just anime sprites and billboarded and not really like full 3D models. There's still a dedicated set of developers in Japan trying to capture that lightning in the bottle.
yeah, and I do feel Team Innocent actually like kind of tried to break a little bit of that like the chain that was binding all these games to like full motion video. Like let's have real things. Like they said like wait, we could do more with this medium. Like I truly think Team Innocent, like in terms of this genre that we're talking, whatever this genre is called, whatever this type of gameplay, whatever this type of like
Search action, search adventure.
full
Interactive
video
anime episode, I
something,
guess. I don't know.
like I do think it's like one of the best types of games of this nature. Like if you go back to that era, 1994, and you compare it to its contemporaries, the
I would
game
say its strongest contemporary might be something like Snatcher, just like the way the like animated portraits move around as you're talking and stuff. Like everything is very animated. There's a lot of different uh, animations for the characters as they're speaking. Lots of like your character will like be bashful while Ariel is like pointing your finger at you and being like, "Oh,
all the modiscs
just
too.
whatever."
Like when you're doing the modiscs at the computers and you're just like listening to like these historical tapes or
Mhm.
recordings or whatever.
You have
Like,
to like
Mhm.
set the disc in. You hear it ka-chunk, and then like you have to
so
press the
good.
play button. It's very like heavy and like deliberate and like it's very realized and it makes it feel more real. That it's gives you that analog feeling to the feedback of all this stuff.
And it
I'm
felt,
actually,
what's up?
or sorry, I'm actually like very impressed at how all the anime portraits look and animate in this game.
Hmm.
Like thinking about how a year or so, like 2 years from now, we'll see Metal Gear Solid codec sequences, and I'm sure it's an artistic choice for it to look like that. But we never see well animated portraits until way later on
Yeah,
in the
that's kind of why I
technology.
brought up
Honestly,
Snatcher because I think that's like the first. I'm part of my ignorance, but like that's the one that stands out to me as being one of the early pioneers of like animated and like lively portraits.
yeah, I think you're right on that.
There's
Also,
a
try my ignorance. I didn't play Snatcher
there's a
enough yet.
few. I would, again, going back to Cosmic Fantasy. Like, uh, Cosmic Fantasy came out in 1990, and it's just I still don't know why this game Cosmic Fantasy isn't considered like something more than what it is. Like in the knowing groups, like the knowers always praise it high, but like overall people kind of ignore it. Like I truly, hot take, I feel like Cosmic Fantasy should be ranked among like the greats. Like there should be Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Fantasy Star, and then Cosmic Fantasy. Like that should be in the conversation because when you look at other RPGs that came out in 1990, uh, they don't even come close or compare. Voice acting, these beautiful little portraits that, like, if you Google Cosmic Fantasy and check any of the art, like, it's definitely like a precursor to a lot. And it is a PC Engine game. You know, PC Engine was just that much
PC
of a
Engine
beast.
kind of goes off. It's
It's a
kind of good
beast.
looking back on it.
We kind of missed out collectively. Like I had a neighbor down the road, like some Italian people, like they had a PC Engine and they would play Bonk on it as a kid, and it was always
Oh
this
yeah.
like faded memory, that like fever dreamy, and then like the Wii came out and it had the TurboGrafx stuff, and I was like, oh, that's what I thought it was a Master System, like in the back of my head that they were playing. I was like,
It's so bizarre.
no, this is they were playing a TurboGrafx. Like,
So my first console was actually a TurboGrafx. So that was like my baseline
oh,
for video games. My first video game was Bonk's Revenge.
hell
It
yeah.
was that and Mega Man 3 were my first ones. But so it was like NES and TurboGrafx because my brother had both of them. He was 10 years older than me and I just was like learning video games off of him. So it's like I have this mysterious console, then nobody else hears of it. So like I go to school, I'm like, yeah, I'm playing TurboGrafx, and everyone's like, what the fuck are
Everyone
you
thinks you're
talking about?
lying. You're like,
Yeah,
no,
they're
I
like, all right,
swear.
you're making this stuff up. No, really, it's this caveman with a big head.
And they were
I
the
swear it's
cards,
real.
right? They were like DS cards, like
Yeah,
big
you
cards.
had cards into the slot, and I had this like big arcade stick for it. One day we just lost the console when I was like,
No.
I don't know, 7 years old. It was just gone, and I was like, okay, I guess I hallucinated all that.
Did this really happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fast forward to now, and look at us now,
yeah, we're
playing
exploring
all
it.
these hidden gems.
Yeah, Shockman. Yeah, not to toot the TurboGrafx horn too much, but it definitely needs, I think, way more love in this modern world because it
It's
still
one
gets
of those
ignored.
things like at the time you remember the feeling of like seeing official illustrations of characters of games and like You normally just have your sprite-based game, and then you get a magazine or like instruction booklet open, and it's like these detailed drawings. You're like, holy shit, this is a whole nother universe. Your imagination goes crazy. These games, like the one you just linked, having actual anime in here would blow my
Like
little
fucking
mind if I played this when it came
Otto.
out.
I was like, what kind of grand artist? Yeah, no, absolutely. Anytime a game had like beautiful art in it, like anime specific, like especially in the early 90s, like it was a rarity. Like, you'd have your Fantasy Star
Yeah,
4 here and
you
there,
get like your one scan with like cool art, and like
Myth
you just study
Makers.
and obsess over it.
Yeah, like when a game actually like pulled through and had it in it, and you knew what it like you were kind of in store for. It was just such a rarity because we had so much bastardized like versions of Japanese games. Like they westernized them on the box arts, and then like
Fucking Mega Man box art.
yeah, and then the cutscenes are like these cute little anime kind of like like little things, and you're like, oh, there's more to this. And then the TV show comes out, and you're like, no, there's not. And you're like, what is this guy? What is this jerk? But yeah, I think Team Innocent like is peak of like all this early stuff that like it's a shame that we didn't really quite get it and in any official capacity until like 30 years later. Like
Mm.
it was a launch game. It was a precursor to I don't know how much influence did this have on Resident Evil. I wonder. I know Resident Evil development
They
like interviews mentioned Alone in the Dark and stuff, but like you got modiscs in this game. You have
Mhm.
like I don't think Alone in the Dark had like that much
Genetic experiments and
combat.
like vats full of like little mutant guys.
Little zombie things like isolation. You're on this isolated again, alien definitely, but like it's like a trail. Like did someone, and it's a launch title. Most developers, I feel like, if they're gonna pick up a system, they're gonna pick it up during its launch, try it out, and like see what it's about. There's the famous Miyamoto thing with Kojima when he played Halo. He shot like the flower or something, and he saw it explode, and he like nodded his
Uh,
head. He was like, ah, yes, like.
and that's all it takes, just that little element that you pick up and say, okay, I'm gonna take this now. Mine. I like that.
Mhm. Yeah, you kind of just like vibe check it. You're like, is this like what's it doing? Cool. I can't imagine how many developers probably specifically took the Switch 2 mouse controls and tried those out like before anything else just to be like, oh, it works. Why didn't we do this like a million years ago? Like it's just interesting to see the trail of how much this game possibly
There always
influenced.
has to be a
it's a
trailblazer.
it's a very good question because like our earliest prototype we know of is August 4th, 1995, which is like over a year before the game came out for Resident Evil 1. And like that was shown at the V Jump Festival at the time. And it's like a few rooms and only Chris. And like it still pretty much looked like what it was gonna become now. So it's like how much like was this like early on in '94? Like they saw this game and like immediately pivoted because there's rumors that Resident Evil 1 started as like a first person survival horror game. And then maybe they saw this and pivoted, but also
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alone in the
but
Dark
like
that's a
exists
very
and
this
good
this
point.
has the
kind of
this has the
points
tank
more at like this
controls. I
was
mean,
maybe both of them just coming to the same conclusion of how to realize Alone in the Dark on a console.
Yeah. No, I mean they're all valid points. Like they wanted it to be, it start off with Sweet Home as the
mm,
inspiration, but like who's to say? Like this shiny new PCFX console in 1994 when all these other consoles were like busters. Like you had the Jaguar, you had the Panasonic, you had like the 32, like all these kind of things that came out kind of like flatlined pretty quickly. Uh, but who's to say they didn't like look at this and be like, "Ooh, shiny new"? Like, cause they
yeah,
love
this is
TurboGrafx.
like your favorite band's favorite band kind of situation where like
Yeah,
these
exactly.
famous developers, yeah, maybe these things didn't sell well or weren't that popular, but like the people who changed the landscape might have actually played this because they had their finger on the pulse, and then they were like,
Yeah,
man, that thing's cool. Let's take that and run with it.
Yeah, they had their ear to the ground, and TurboGrafx, the PC Engine was pretty damn big in Japan. So who's to say this wasn't something that like people were super excited about, or
Mm.
at the very least, just developers, just to be like, what do they got here? And again, launch title. This is a
Yeah,
pretty
and
good
let's think
launch
about like
title.
the media, the landscape when games would come out back then. Like there were magazines covering every single title. There were like what, like 4 or 5 titles around a launch, if that. So it's like you really had to be like, all right, we're gonna hype this up. This is what's going on here. This defines the console right now, and everyone was just kind of aware of what was going on if you were in the scene.
Yeah. And I think there was only 60 to 70 games released in total, somewhere around there, 62 games. Uh, yeah, like it's not like they had a ton to like sift through. Like Team Innocent, I really wish I knew like the reaction and reception of this game in 1994. Um, this just to see like was this like what was the number one selling game? What did make the biggest impact and splash? Because this came out 2 days before Christmas. Um, so like who's to say like all these people didn't get a beautiful PCFX uh, after the holidays, or I know Japan doesn't exactly celebrate Christmas, but like there's precedent there where it's just like, okay, new console, it's the start of a new year, it's breaking new barriers, let's really like play it. And yeah, it's just a good question, makes you really wonder how much.
Imagine it could have been hard to get into just because if the price of the console itself was restrictive, it's like, do I want to pay this just to watch anime or should I like buy the VHS of this other anime? Like
Mhm.
maybe that was a discussion someone had to have instead of spending all this money on a new console.
Yeah, I don't even know the price, or there's so much of
Yeah.
a mystery. Again, 300,000 were sold. That's not a lot in the course of 4 years. They discontinued it in 1998. That's not a lot. So, it's just it's an interesting kind of. I didn't even know the PCFX was a thing until like because it gets weird and cloudy with the turbo. Like there's the Turbo Duo, there's a Turbo CD, there's and like half of them are the same exact console, and then the
Yeah.
other half aren't, and it's like,
It's one of those things like the Mega Drive naming like confused me for a while too. I'm like, what? It's Genesis, and then it's like there's Mega CD and this and that.
yeah, it's like, is this its own console or is this an add-on? And 32X wanted to be its own console, but it was an add-on, and it's just
Mm.
shout outs to the Sega Pluto. Uh, but yeah, that was pretty much like my big takeaways is like how much did this game influence like the landscape potentially? Because if it did influence Resident Evil, uh, it would have made a big splash because Resident Evil is one of the biggest selling franchises. It's still relevant almost 30 years later, constantly reinventing itself. Uh,
It's just hard to ignore the similarities between the map screen, the tank controls, the fixed
Combining
camera angles, the
items.
move when you move around the rooms and the camera swaps and you have no idea where the fuck you are because it suddenly swaps you like 90 degrees.
You're in like the bio lab. You're
There
your
is one
team.
specific room in chapter 3. It's like in the metal room with all the robots. You know the one.
Mhm.
You have to find like a fourth hallway, but I only thought there were 3 for the longest time because like the camera switches depending on where you walk in the room, and I lost my sense of bearings for so long. Like as soon as I found that fourth hallway, I was like,
Yeah.
what else is this game hiding for me?
God damn. There's a whole other area. There's a whole
Whole nother
East Wing.
dimension.
But yeah, as far as Team Innocent goes, I loved it. Not again, it's not my favorite game to play, which is something I say about certain games like Majora's Mask and Silent Hill 2. Like I
Mm,
love those games, but I don't love replaying them.
mm.
Like
I feel that.
the remake for 2 is great, but it's just like there is this emotional like drainage when I play it. there is this
Yeah.
like cumbersome aspect to it where it's just like, yeah, I don't really want to go through the apartments. Like I love everything about it, but I don't want to right now. Whereas you put up Mega Man
I,
3 and Street Fighter 6 and I'll play right through it, which happened the
yeah,
other
I think
week.
it's just okay for some games to be amazing first experiences and not revisit them. I think that's totally valid, and they can still be amazing at the end of the day after that. And when you think about them, they give you that feeling or mood, and they transport you right to like having your late night comfy sessions, whatever you were smelling at the time or eating at the time. It just becomes a whole like a place you can revisit in your mind.
Yeah, and it's something you want to revisit very seldom. Like I will
Mm.
maybe replay this game, but it's not like how I play through Zelda 2 every Christmas or Link to the Past on a fall like afternoon or Mega Man every Mega Man game I'll play through them multiple times a year. FF6 I can run through any time of the week, but certain games like I guess this one now
They're
too.
feeling and like you can't chase that dragon too much
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, if you try and chase it too much, it loses some of its essence. So, I mean, that's how I felt. How did you all feel in general as a closing
I
thought for Team Innocent?
I felt kind of similar. Like I wasn't in the mood for a survival horror adventure game, but I was like, damn, this is cool. If I was in the right mood for it, this would be great. But also, maybe it's also like you said, it'd have to be like the first time I saw this kind of game, went, wow, holy shit, this is revolutionary. Whereas now it's like, oh, okay, it's just before Resident Evil, but it's still kind of just the same the bud that became Resident Evil later on, which is still cool. I probably will actually finish it at some point, but
Even for
I
like if you wanted to watch a long play of it or something, like that's the beauty of this game too. Like you could just kind of watch it and like you're experiencing this like sweet sci-fi 90s anime that you just can't get anywhere else, you know?
yes, I was probably curious about the weeds of it, of like all these items I got and wondering if they had any use whatsoever.
That's like
You want
survival
to just poke
kits.
around the, yeah, I just want to like
Just make
poke
a
around the
baseball
station and see
bat.
if they work.
And the best part
Like
is none of it
even
is
though
too
they're fucking
serious.
useless.
It lets you play around because it's not like it's like a punishing game. Like you can use stuff, you can use up your ammo and your gun. It's fine. You'll live.
I honestly expected the other girl, the 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 down to earth one, to stop me from opening the airlock because I was like, why would they put this right in front of me on the second screen? And they won't let me open this, right? And then I just opened it and died. I was like, damn, okay. I thought someone would say, like, what are you doing to Ella? Stop that.
But yeah, going back to answer your question, JJ, it's totally a vibe game. I'll always remember this as like the 4 hour marathon gaming sci-fi session that was really special. There were a lot of points where I was frustrated playing it, but like that was only in the moment. And looking back, it kind of adds to it. I don't know. It's weird. Like there's a lot of backtracking. I was lost at some points where like I wasn't sure if I could like ride a tram at one point. I
Yeah.
thought that like they'd be offline or whatever, and I was wasting like an hour running around. But like again, it just delivers that feeling of being stuck on a spaceship, and you can only get that by playing a video game in this medium. If you watch an anime, it's not quite the same because they're going to be on their own pace, they're doing their mission, but here it's like, no, you have to solve this or else like their mission isn't getting done.
Yeah,
So
the 20 minutes you spend bumbling around is not going to be in the movie. But that is your own experience to take from it.
yeah.
And, you know, I'm guilty of it too. When I started getting a little lost, like I could have tinkered it out a bit. I could have ironed it out and figured it out. But I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to meander too much because
Mm.
I want to experience this. I want to see where it takes me. I want to see
Yeah, you
more of
want to
these
keep it flowing.
characters, and yeah. So you know, if you're ever a little lost, just open up Game
Hit up a
FAQs.
Blarg 1 2 3 4 5 6's guide.
Thank you, Blarg.
Shasta Blarg.
I don't know when you wrote that, but shout out to you. Firefly, how did you enjoy watching this? Because you watched a long play of it, correct?
Yes. I actually enjoyed watching it. And like the animation style was my favorite and the story, like them trying to figure out where they came from.
Mm.
Yeah, it tells a good
Yes.
story. It definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot we didn't actually talk about. Like, yeah, we talked about like certain details, but there's things that unfold and you discover throughout the story that are pretty interesting.
Yeah, don't want to spoil too much, but like we said, they do have powers, and they there's like a trial in the episode 3, and the like Dr. Kronos, his goodbye message was like, again, I said earlier, but it's oddly heartfelt, where he's just telling you, like telling the girls, like, embrace your humanity, like that's what you are, like
Yeah.
don't think anything else, like even if you're this weird bio experiment, like take hold of that humanity, because you clearly have a sense of it based on everything you've just seen in the game. I just thought it was really cool. Great package, great launch title. Yeah, I got nothing left. I think those were just some solid vibes all around from a fun game. So thank you for the translation, Derek, and God, I can't remember anyone else's name. Elmer, Esper Knight,
Yeah, Elmer
Derek.
Fudd, thank you.
Yeah, you guys,
Esper Knight,
Josh for playtest. Seriously, all of you. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate people that take the time to fan translate, because they're
Sputnik 34, Galaga, Articution,
the
Regis
PC.
Gallant. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, like just amazing job. But yeah, that is all I have. Anyone have any closing thoughts at all before we put the bow on this little package?
As much as I would have liked for this series to become something more, it does feel coherent enough on its own, and it leaves you with just enough to think about the characters, a little lingering mystique. I'm left wanting more of these characters, so I think that's a success from the story, and I think that's what any artist could strive for, someone that wants more.
Yeah,
I agree with ATI entirely. That's a lot of good one-off games I am still sitting here wanting a sequel to many years later. Versus some of these newer ones that are like, say, Kenji Inafune's stuff, where it's like, oh, we want to make a big multimedia IP off the bat. And it's like, no, I
These
need you to
three
be humble
girls,
first.
these three girls are my friends. We are friends forever now, and I will never betray them.
Exactly.
yeah, and that is Team Innocent. So thank you all for listening, and we shall see you in 2 weeks. Later.
Be space cowboys.
Later.
See ya.